By the way, though, I actually had a take. I wanted to get Monty's take on this as well, because one thing I noticed during the split was when everything was going perfect and the team was undefeated, not just because it's Rogue, but I also feel like another reason people kept waiting for sort of the penny to drop, as it were, Monty, and like the team to finally look human, is because they just expected, like, that style Malrang was playing looked really abusive. Like, he was definitely gambling on some of those fucking early ganks. Like, he was doing the ones where, like, if you just miss completely the gank, it's like, you're just behind so far, like, and your lane's just fucked. Like, but if you get it off, as you see, like, it's OP as fuck, you're just ahead mega in the game. But the vibe was people kept thinking he's going to get figured out, right? So I want to know, what are your thoughts in this sense?
I mean, some of my favorite ones, Odoamne, are like he'll like play Hecarim, and then he'll take, like, he'll be on the bottom side of the map, and then he'll like run to enemy Krugs on Hecarim, and then just like appear behind their turret, and then you turret dive them. And I'm like, who the fuck would think that this Hecarim would literally spend like 40 seconds running across the entire map to enemy Krugs, and then like be behind the turret? Like, his plays are kind of insane at times.
It must be wild to set these plays up. How the fuck do you coordinate something like that?
I mean, it's mostly his decision. I mean, in a way, yeah. I mean, you could say that he does like all of this flip plays, but I mean, in reality, in his mind, he still wants to, like, farm and full clear. It's just like he sees these random opportunities that are just there. It's not like, I mean, I wouldn't really say there's like so much of a flip what he's doing. I mean, yeah, maybe there are some plays that he does that are flips, but not really like as much as people would say. It's just, I don't know. I feel like
I don't think it's a flip, Odoamne. I think that those plays are just very high risk, high reward, because if he wastes all that time and you guys don't get the kill, or like you die under turret, like you fuck up the dive, like it's devastating, right?
It's like some Hillsang shit. He just sees an open, he's going for it, right?
I mean, I've been on the receiving end of, I mean, I guess Malrang high risk, high reward play where, I mean, there are times where if it fucks up, then, it is. It is quite doomed to put it like that, but
it's my angle, dude. Because here's the thing, right? Normally, people, I guarantee you, by the way, all fans are going to do that thing I said earlier about narratives. They're going to act like Rogue has been the exact same team for the last 2 years, and they're just going to go, "You're going to choke in the playoffs." But you believe it or not, I'm going to go the other way. I actually think the way Malrang plays might help in the playoffs, dude. Because what I love about this guy is just a fucking Chad. He just goes for the plays. He really is like a jungle Hillsang. So, mate, in the playoffs, that could be really fucking good. If someone actually goes for decisive players when everyone else is like, how the playoffs always are, people start slow and then they're very careful and they don't want to int, and especially junglers, mate. Like, if anything, the jungler can be too safe sometimes in playoffs. So I like the idea he's going for this shit. You are going to live and die by that, but let's go for it. I'm all in. Ding.
I mean,
what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this one with Jungle Hillsang is actually a good one. I'm going to use it from now on. I didn't think of it like that, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm the one, or like we're the one on the receiving end of, the flip of a coin, of like the high risk, high reward, coin that is going to get tossed. But yeah, I mean, we are doing our best to make it so it lands more on the high reward kind of part. But I mean, definitely, I think when come playoffs and you have best of 5 on stage, as you said, a lot of people are going to try to play slow, keep the game stable and all of this stuff. And if our jungler is a psycho and finds like openings like this, then definitely it's gonna help in the long run. Or also it could also be that he flips the coin and lands on the risky side for like 3 games in a row, and then he's just
Indeed.
lost.
Yes.
But
you must love this though, because as you said, like he provides so much help to the solo lanes in particular, and you get to play Graves as your most played champion this year, and you get to get ahead. You don't have to just play tanks. It was so dictated by like Inspired's like, no, please push this wave so that I can get optimal pathing, right? Or I need you to play back so that I can do this thing on the other side of the map. And now it feels more like Malrang is looking at the way your lane state is and making decisions based around that to sacrifice himself, which I'm sure is much better for you personally.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, the way it was with Inspired, it was like, it was really like stressful and hard because I had to always take into account my lane state and his jungle path and try to sync up for him to be, when he is there, that I make use of him being there for like 20 seconds. And it was like my only gasp of air, that I would get for like the next 5 minutes. So it was really like stressful to play because I had my brain on fire the whole time to not miss that window where he can actually help me, While now it's like if I made a critical mistake and my lane's on fire, Malrang will be there to kind of, like put the fire out and be like, okay, I'm going to skip this camp and waste time here, because if I don't do it in the game, it's just like over from like the mistake that you did, While I didn't really get to have this luxury last year. So yeah, definitely a welcoming change. I'm enjoying it a lot. And yeah, I mean, for me and Larson, just for both of us, it feels like we can play in a way that we like to as well.
The problem is, Monty, like, I got the vibe from Inspired that he plays, like, if people don't know, like, I would tell people I play support only, right? But if obviously you have to put the second role, so I do jungle as the autofill, right? And then all I'll say is this: if I ever go jungle, I don't actually try to play jungle. All I do is I'm a triage surgeon, and I'm here to decide who gets to live and who dies. So what I do is this, right? I'm a prick. What I do is literally, if you're my top laner, for example, if you just like int a couple of deaths early, like, I just won't be coming to your lane ever again. I'll even type it to you, like, you just enjoy the rest of the game, build tank items, game's over for you. I'm fucking up in mid lane now. I got that vibe almost from Expired. Like, that's like what it's like to play with him, because look, he is like a fucking path genius. He's doing an amazing job farming. His efficiency's insane. If the lanes all did do a fine job, as you see last year, it looks OP as fuck. But the problem is, I'm trying to remember if I've got the champion wrong here, but I'm sure I remember, dude, in playoffs, there was a game where you had like a Jace pick and you were like set up to have like a carry lane, and it just went like slightly bad like a few minutes into the game, and I just felt like Inspired was like, yeah, forget that lane, and he just like fucked off. It's like, he was never in your lane. I was like, this is his one chance to play the carry pick, what the fuck? And then all the fans in all Twitter, it's like, fucking Odo sucks, man, he should never be on carry, get him on that fucking time. Give me a break, mate. There must have been some of that going on. What was going on? It never felt like they really committed to you playing carries, dude. They did it every now and then, but like half-heartedly sometimes it felt like.
I mean, the thing is, it even happened like at Worlds. You go to Worlds and there's this meta of like Lucian Jace top, and it's like, it's so difficult to play, or like so weird to play, because like Chinese or Korean top laners, they do stuff with their jungler 24/7 in those matchups, because they're
absolutely,
like, it's like this high maintenance matchup, and I'm like, yeah, obviously I can't play these because I need to wait 3 minutes for the next 20 seconds to get help from my jungler, and then he leaves, and it's like, if this doesn't go according to plan, then my game is just ruined, So it's like, that's kind of one of the reasons why I didn't really like play those matchups, or like people were giving me flack for not performing well in that, because it's like every single moment in that lane, there's always a decision I have to make, keeping all of this in mind, that the enemy jungler will come to me, my jungler will path away from me, and all of this stuff. And yeah, I mean, obviously you're gonna get stomped, So yeah, I mean, it was rough. I mean, I'm still struggling with that a bit. It's still one of the things that I mean, I think I talked to you, Thorin, about this like over our interviews, or like over our talks over the years, that I'm always the kind of guy that's like, yeah, I ain't gonna be fine. You guys can just do whatever you want, and you guys just do your job, and I'll do mine, and then everything's gonna be great, And with Malrang, I feel like I can do that a bit more, and it's still not at the level that it needs to be for like be like world class or whatever. But that just takes like a lot of effort from me to kind of change my style, or like be more demanding in like these sorts of like matchups, because I didn't really get to do it last year. So I need to try and do it this year.
All I'm going to say is no pressure, but you have to remember, right? Think of some of my favourite players over the years. We had like Flame, never won the domestic championship. We had Froggen did win. Forgiven, rather, never won the domestic championship. Loads of my favourite players never got that chip, right? So I can't lie. Since loads of them are retired now, Odoamne, I've sort of rolled over all those expectations, and they're all on you now. And if you win, I actually might just like probably stand up like fucking Ozymandias and watch one and be like, I get it! And then I'll realise, well, I didn't do anything actually. I'm just fucking watching a guy from Romania play League. Why am I even getting hyped on this? But it will feel satisfying if you win. Like, I think this is the time, mate. I told you, I'm a fool. I'm going all in again. I've never learned my lesson, apparently. I actually have, though, because like I said, I think actually those two differences are the key for me. One is I actually think the Malrang factor will be very interesting in the playoffs. Like, obviously, I only saw Inspired play for you before. And then the other one, to me, is, like I said, Trimby this year is not Trimby last year. Like, I'm very interested to see what he'll be like in the playoffs. If he plays like he did in the regular season, I think Rogue is actually underrated, dude. I think they're doing too much of last year's narrative and loading it into now. But here's the problem. That narrative doesn't even fit this regular split. How many times did Rogue in the regular split ever look bad? Almost never. Like, what, 2 games or something? Not even all the losses were bad. Like, mate, I think this was one of the cleanest splits your team's ever had. I think it looked great. If I was on your team, I'd think we were going to win the championship. Why not?
Yeah. But
I think people probably are looking at the last game you played against Fnatic in a best of 1, where you decided to give Humanoid Twisted Fate, and are judging, that results as to how you would potentially match up against this team. But I think Fnatic returned to a lot of comfort picks in those games, and especially for Humanoid, who was getting himself back on track. And I think you guys gave up the quintessential Humanoid pick that is also happens to be very strong in this meta. And I just don't see you guys getting draft gap like that over a best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, definitely we gave him his favorite pick and stuff, but I mean, that game was still lost from game. I mean, it was one of those cons that if you lose early game, you just lose. It's not any more complex than that. You just lost early game, and your comp doesn't have a lot of tools to make a comeback, and that's it. That's just life. That's the nature of best of 1. Sometimes you just flip it and you lose. But I mean, definitely best of 5 is it's a whole different game, because every single best of 5 there's this bubble or this meta that happens. I think even with Misfits in our best of 5 last year, all of a sudden Camille went from red side 5th pick to blue side 1st pick by game 5. And stuff like this will happen,
Yep.
So I mean, we just lost against Fnatic, and that just sucks. But there's nothing more to it.
Luckily, if you and Fnatic, though, make the final, I actually can't lose then, because either you or Upset finally win. So there we go. It's like when the last CSGO major, it had to be Nico or Simple. One of them had to win the final. So I'll take either side. Don't worry, I'll just be on Upset. I was always believed in you, mate. I always said you'd win as well.
All right.
Fuck off, Odoamne. All right, mate. Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.